And what is up everyone, welcome back to another episode on the A-Team channel. Let me start off by wishing you all a happy new year. I know it's a different day and it looks a little gloomy out there, but things are going to hopefully get better this year. But what a way to start it off, huh? Here we are in January and we seem to have an outright tug of war taking place between head teachers, teacher unions with the government over whether schools should stay open or shut until things start to settle down. I'm pretty sure you all have an opinion on this one, and in today's one, I really want to hand it over to you guys. And I want to simply ask, what do you think about this? Should schools remain open or should they be closed? I know Boris is saying that schools are super safe environments. Do you actually buy into that? And with all of this chaos that's roaming around, the big question is,
should exams still go ahead?
I know many of you are really confused about all of this, and for those of you that are waiting to sit your exams this year, I really do feel for you guys, since all of this confusion can't be a good thing and definitely doesn't help with anyone's morale, even whether you're a student or a teacher in this case. Anyway, right before I get into this, guys, make sure to give this one a thumbs up, as you'll be helping the channel out by doing so. And look, since all of you are affected by this news in some form or another, drop a comment down below and let us know how you're getting along, as I genuinely like to know what the vast majority of you are feeling towards all of this. So now that you've done that, let's get into it. So let's first try and understand why teachers, heads and the unions are outright calling for schools to be shut down. As of December last year, there was breaking news that a new strain of the virus was on the rise, and initially this particular mutation was said to have a projected transmission rate of around 70%. The figure has now since been reduced slightly to between 50 to 60%, which is still quite significant. This of course has led the government to implementing a new set of restrictions and guidelines for areas within London and the South East, which obviously led to these new Tier 4 restrictions. And following Christmas, the vast majority of the country is now facing the same fate. This has been done to protect the public and lower the transmission rate of the virus, and thereby not to overwhelm our national health system, which, according to the latest figures, is being pushed to its capacity in certain regions. So with the last 7 days having seen a huge surge of exponential rises in the number of people that have been tested positive with the virus, and also the death count has gone up as well. The figures have exceeded the numbers back in March of 2020, which is a point of concern when you think about it, because back in March last year, we underwent a full national lockdown. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if at any moment the call came for another national lockdown. So what's the relevance of all of this information that I'm sharing with you, which you probably already know by now? Well, according to the top scientists within this country, who by the way have looked into this strain of this new variant and found that the protein spike of this virus is seen as being more stickier. Now, in scientific terms, this means that it can bind more easily with cells, and originally the older strain of the virus didn't affect children as it affected elderly patients, but according to the science now, this virus has the capacity to transmit more quickly, even though it's been stated that the symptoms are not any different to the previous versions. Some of you may be pointing out that we now also have vaccines out. For instance, the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine is out today, and people up and down the country are probably being vaccinated as you're watching this. But the scientists are saying that the vaccine should still work on this new strain, but the key issue here is the transmission rate, in the sense that the vaccine, even if you got it today, would require a little bit of time and doesn't get your immune system to be responsive to it from the get-go. But not only that, the vaccine doesn't necessarily stop people from being able to pass it on from one person to another. So obviously, you can gather by all of this, it is still quite a complicated affair. So you have SAGE, which are the government's official advisory group of scientists. They've actually come out and advised the government to shut schools down to prevent the transmission rate from getting out of control. In fact, there is a paper that's been released by the Children's Task and Finish group, which shows that transmission rates actually slowed following the half-term holidays and then spiked up again once schools were open. So there definitely seems to be a correlation here. So if all of this data is showing a clear sign, why is the government still insistent on keeping schools open? Well, according to Gavin Williamson, the argument is that impeding children's education has wider implications for their growth and development, and he's insisting that schools are a safe environment for all. And with mass testing being rolled out this week, the government are insisting that the education setting is going to be safe. I think, in my opinion, the government holds the view that upholding education has wider implications, not just in the short term, but also a compounding effect in the long run. I mean, just take a look at what 5 months of missing education has done to virtually all age groups up and down the country. I can certainly tell you from the educational frontline, it definitely has had an effect, but the truth of the matter is, should education come at the price of health and lives? What do you guys think? Do you think the way the government is handling all of this is appropriate? Drop your thoughts in the comment section down below. So the big question is, what happens to you guys that have exams coming up this year? So according to the latest official word, exams are still
going ahead.
I'll tell you one thing parents and children would like to know is whether the exams will go ahead this summer. Can you guarantee that they will?
Yes, and that's why we took the move to keep those children who are in those exam cohorts, those exam years, so years 11 and years 13, still coming into school from the 11th of January.
Now, what makes me wonder is that if the teacher unions manage to overhaul the government on this, then there's no doubt that exams will be majorly impeded in some form or another, and a U-turn will no doubt take place. I know I don't want to create confusion and uproar here, but this could potentially happen, and you can't exactly rule anything out at this moment in time. So it really is chaotic out there. Trust me, I get it. I understand some of the frustrations that every single one of you are feeling. And look, there's no easy way of dealing with this. I said it back in March last year when we experienced the first lockdown, and while some people were celebrating the news of the cancellation of examinations, I was saying not to be expecting an easy ride. And look, it did come back to bite some people later on. So my advice is, yes, all of this creates a whirlwind of confusion and doubt. Will exams get cancelled, or will they stick to it? It really can't be doing you guys any wonders. But look, this is the current world that surrounds us. I turn up to work every day, seriously not knowing what's about to happen. All I can say is that you either adapt, stay strong, and work through it, or look, you simply get absorbed by all of the negativity, and that will just lead you to getting drowned by it all. My advice to you all out there is to look, stay calm, collected, and do your bit. If you have exams this year, you really need to focus on that. Yes, I understand your learning has been compromised in many ways that I can't even begin to outline in this video. But seriously, if you can get through these challenging times, then greater things are waiting for you on the other side. With every downfall, there is an upturn coming. And I personally believe, even though we've entered a new year and things are looking as the same bleak image that we left off from last year, things are going to change. We just have to allow our inner state to change, and then the world will respond to that. I know this is a philosophical view that I'm getting you guys to adopt, but look, trust me, you have to have some sort of optimism to get through this. And look, if you're a private candidate or an external student, I would strongly encourage you to get registered to a center where if exams were to be cancelled, then they can accommodate for center assessed grades. As I know, schools and some colleges last year weren't able to facilitate this, and they left a lot of private candidates stranded. So with all of this commotion that's taking place with the teacher unions, private candidates could once again be adversely impacted once more. If any of you are in this situation and you would like additional advice, then I've left our contact details at the bottom down below. And hey, look, if any of you out there are genuinely struggling coping with all of this, then shoot me a DM on Instagram. I'm more than happy to advise you on that. Also, if there is any topic or you have any ideas for the next YouTube video, then make sure to drop it in the comment section down below. And guys, look out for one another. Make sure to give this one a thumbs up. And also, if you're not already subscribed, make sure to do so, as this will be the channel for 2021. And on that note, my name is Amin, and I will catch up with you another time.